Well, it's Bill Cook down here at Ag City, a little piece of heaven down here at Junction T and 7. And today we got a real special guest again. We're back talking about a lot of cool things. We got Seth Gilkeson and we got Jeff Yahnig here. And I think it's going to be an exciting podcast for you. I think you're going to really enjoy it. And we're going to kind of review what we talked about, and kind of, my old buddy here, Jeff, he kind of reminds me, you want to tell you what we're going to say, and then say it, and then tell you what we said. So anyway, what we're going to do right now is we're going to tell you what we think we said on the last podcast with Mr. Gilkeson, and it's all about the trees. And Seth, let's just dip back into your vision on trees and kind of where that came from, and the 5 trees and all the things that you felt driven to take this research this direction.
So, trees, if you go back into the Bible and you look at what it says about the Garden of Eden, I had never really thought about it or really dived into it until I felt like God was leading me to do that. And when I did, I noticed it says that God planted trees that were pleasing to the eye and good for food. And that's what he set up for Adam and Eve in the very beginning. It wasn't until they were kicked out of the garden that they started planting annuals and just plants, and they didn't have access to the trees after that. And so literally from that point in history on, we have not had a tree-based agricultural system. And what I feel like, or am sensing, or think is the best plan is to try to go back to God's original intention, God's original design.
And you've used all kinds of numbers and stuff, which you've shared with Jeff and I, which has been really good. And Jeff, you got anything you want to add on this review section of when we got started?
Every time we sit down, it seems like we come together, something new or interesting comes up, and when we look at this, Bill, we're talking about you have USDA research here. It's really interesting because when Seth brings up trees, and we're talking about trees here, we're not discovering anything new. We're discovering things that we have forgotten.
Amen.
And that's a little bit of a trick to go back, because we all, when we think about it, we've heard people have told us things about certain trees and slippery elm and different things. And what Seth is bringing to the table here, he's starting to show you how we're putting all that together. And a question when we all met the other day, he asked us, he said, think of your favorite vegetables. And you and I immediately cut it down to vegetable. And and then replace it with a tree and go find out what type of a tree can replace the nutrients from your favorite vegetable. And it's interesting because we can do that.
Yeah, and the thing, Seth gave us a lesson, and basically he said, try to match it up with the tree. Well, I took his 5 trees, and I took a shortcut. Instead of trying to figure out the vegetable bag of trees, I took the trees and went to the vegetable. But anyway, this is kind of just a little bit of review, and we're going to take a real short break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to talk a little bit about the USDA and a little bit about where we think we're going with some of this research, and try to prove as much of these theories and thoughts as we can. So we'll be right back in just a couple of minutes. Well, we have a short break here, and I just wanted to share with you what Ag City does. It's been so exciting this year. We're a little over a year old now at Ag City, and I've got really good interns I've been working with. Anna Cantrell has been just a sweetheart, and we've got another young lady that's been really helping her out, and it's been really worked really good. We got all these businesses right now. I think we're up to about 26 businesses along 7 Highway, and what we're trying to do is helping entrepreneurs and incubate young people and do all these things. And this is just one of the things that we're doing with Seth under his new program. And so it's been really exciting. And and I want to touch base a little bit about our VIP system and how we track and trace and how that all works with all of our research. We've got this USDA research location here, and we're really trying to move it into some things that are even more valuable to you as consumers. And so, anyway, I won't spend a lot of time, but I do really want to flag all the businesses along 7 Highway and all the things that are coming to our table and all rural America that you can experience just going down that heavenly drive down 7 Highway. And remember, we're new visitor center right here, Junction T and 7, little piece of heaven, and we're going right back to our program. And we're back with this very interesting discussion with these guys, and it's been very educational for me this last month, just trying to absorb all the knowledge. So I'm going to just touch base a little bit on this portion on our USDA license that we have here. When we got the USDA license, it was pretty exciting. We were strictly working on the hemp, and it worked. Reason we worked on the hemp, we started that in 2019, and we spent lots of time, effort, money. We worked with Lincoln University. We worked with SLU University. We worked with some small universities trying to figure out the hemp industry and how it really would help your soil and how it environmentally friendly. So that was where we really focused on. Well, along came Seth, and along came trees, and along came some interesting things that we see there's some real power here, and so we're putting a little bit of that effort. I say a little bit. We're actually putting a lot of effort into the tree side of the research with the USDA, and so we're kind of dragging those people into this a little bit, so you kind of see what their flavor is. So anyway, Seth, why don't you talk a little bit about these 5, 6 trees that you've been working on, and your mission statements, and all the cool things that you've been working on.
Thanks, Bill. I really appreciate it. I appreciate the opportunity. I appreciate your help and support in this. So what I would like to do is just to help everyone kind of get an understanding of where this is going is I'm going to read the mission statement that we put together. So the mission statement is to develop a tree-based agricultural system that can provide complete human and animal nutrition with the end goal of providing another option to traditional annual crops for farmers in the United States and worldwide. So that is a big picture. That is a big goal. But I think everyone in this room knows that traditional agriculture is really has its limitations, its struggles in being environmentally friendly, and also being able to provide a safe food product because of the chemicals and fertilizers that need to be added to the soil to produce that crop. With the tree-based agricultural system, we're looking at a lot less tillage, a lot less chemicals, a lot less fertilizers, and something that once it's established can be there for this generation and generations to come.
I got a question for you, and you've picked out 5 trees plus the moringa, and that just came in today. And we'll talk a little bit about threes and stuff like that at some point. But what's really exciting right now is that we have got 5 of those things in our research today. They're all planted. The only thing is the moringa. You might just touch base a little bit on the why we picked those 5 trees, or why you picked those 5 trees for us to do in this USDA research plot.
So the 5 trees so far, if we start with the honey locust tree, I think I touched on this before, but the pods of that tree are equal to nutritionally a corn crop or corn. The tree is also a nitrogen fixer, which means that it needs a lot less inputs to produce. Then we also have the chestnut tree. The chestnut tree is called the bread tree, and unfortunately in the United States there was a lot of chestnut trees that died because of a blight. But this is a Chinese chestnut, so it has resistance to that blight and is being propagated in quite a few places. that tree, that nut, has a high caloric intake for it's you can grind it up and make it into a bread, and so that is very important for human diet or animal diet. There's the hazelnut. It's not typically a tree that's grown in Missouri, but it can be and is being developed to do that with hybrids, and we picked out a hybrid for that. And it has a high oil content, which is very good for nutrition. You need to have a certain level of oils in your diet. Then we also have the mulberry tree, which it has a really high protein fruit, but also the leaves of the mulberry tree are very nutritious and can be made and used as a salad or as a supplement for animals in nutrition because it'll hit over 20% protein, plus it has lots of essential vitamins and nutrients and minerals in the leaves. The next one I just want to hit would be the I think we did walnut. So we have a select walnut from Purdue that produces a really good crop of nuts plus timber. So I was talking to Bill before that that's kind of a 401k tree. Like you can plant it and 25, 30 years later, you can have a timber crop as well as a consistent nut crop.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. You were kind of comparing it to if you're going to do something for your family, here's something that's going to produce, and just say the family's ready to sell the farm, get out of business. They can cut the trees down to logs, and that's their 401k. I think that's the terminology. It's kind of like a 401k tree,
Yeah.
which kind of hit my hot button because from the numbers side, it's it makes sense.
It's nice to be able to have something along those lines that's actually within your control. Whenever you have a 401k, I had one in the past, and it's I just give the money to the investors, and then I hope they do a good job.
Okay.
But with this, you can actually on your own land have control over a very high value crop that doesn't take a lot of maintenance once it's established.
And now touch base on that moringa. And I know that there's certain things we can do and can't do, but we just got the moringa seed in today, and we got 3,000 seeds, if I understand. And so there's a lot of things we're going to be trying to do with that tree as far as research and find out what we can actually get done with that tree.
So the moringa, if for those who have experience with it, if you want to look it up online, it is one of the most nutritious plants in the world. The leaves, I think they say it has like 6 times the vitamin C, 5 times the vitamin A. It has 7 times potassium comparatively to other vegetable crops
Yeah.
that you would think would be like really nutritious, but compared to the leaves of this tree, the seeds of this tree are very high in an oil that is comparable to olive oil. And so in other countries, this tree literally keeps people alive. It can handle extreme drought conditions when other plants can't. And literally every part of the tree, the bark, the roots, um, the leaves, the seeds can all be used in some fashion. And so we're trying to, it is a tropical tree, but we're going to try to see how well we can get it to survive back over the winter. We may try to grow it like an annual. We may, experiment on many different levels with this tree just because of its sheer usefulness. So
And we
we're
might even
excited.
use it like a seed crop. We might be producing it for seed purposes for other people to use around the U.S. or wherever we want to take that seed crop to.
Yeah, yeah, and I know that the place that I got it from, they use it for biofuels. So they produce a lot from India is where it came from, and so they use it a lot for large, uh, plantations to produce biodiesel. That's something they really need there. Over here, we can do a lot more high-end stuff like cosmetics and oils for skin and then just for real compact total health in one leaf.
That's pretty exciting stuff, Jeff.
You
That's
know, it
pretty
really
exciting
is,
stuff.
Bill. Seth, and I was just seeing something the other day that there's some research that's coming out on the moringa that the seed has the ability to purify water
Yeah,
that
that's
we
pretty
know
cool.
of, and also what they're finding out is too is that it takes the microplastics that we're seeing in water. And if a person starts reading the concerns that they're having with that now, it kind of scares you because plastic's everywhere. It's breaking down. It's inside of us. It's even intracellular, and that's an issue they have. So the research, and I'm not making any claims here, and don't have the pedigree or the degrees to make claims. Just giving you a heads up. It's interesting what could be coming down the road, and that they're using something that is so uh, in our history with the moringa, and that's something that Seth is bringing to us. That Bill has the ability that we can start studying that and researching it. And like I said a while ago, and say again, we're not discovering new things. We're rediscovering things that we have forgotten. And hopefully, with your all's help and talking back with us, and when you see something interesting, let us know and get a hold of us and see if there's something that you have been thinking about that we haven't thought about that we can research through the USDA plots that we have up here.
Well, and thanks, Jeff, and that's very good input, and appreciate those comments because it opens up your mind to so many
Yes.
things. And one of the cool things that you did bring up the water, and it would be amazing if we had the recipe and you grew your own moringa tree and whether you put it inside or outside and you kept that thing alive and you used it personally. And that's what they do in India, don't they? They have, I mean, a family uses that for their own personal use. And let's just say, for a water filter. I mean, so there's so many things that we're trying to seek the truth and trying to find out through research.
Well,
And it's just got a lot of
yeah,
legs to it.
and that's what's telling us, and hopefully we can spark some interest here too, and other people too. When you're looking at taking a moringa powder as a supplement, and then you look at the things that it helps the body, and one of them is reducing inflammation. And let's face it, if you're reducing inflammation, and that's actually happening, and they show that, then you are cleaning the body out because that's how you reduce inflammation is to get the toxins out of the cells.
Well, hey, we're going to cut this session off and we're going to be right back. But one of the cool things when we do get back, we're going to talk about Timberline Foods and how you may want to be involved with Seth and some of the things that you can do to be involved with this experimental process. And I think it's pretty exciting. So we'll be right back with some really cool stuff. Well, that was exciting. How about that break? I mean, that was some really good stuff that we just come off of. Again, Seth and Jeff's doing a great job, and we're so excited about this part of the project. And I don't know that I've mentioned enough about our VIP system and how we track and trace, and that's one of the things. I mean, Anna and I are going for training. I guess you'd call it like TikTok training. And so we're going to try to do a little better job of getting some really cool information out to you on a steady basis. Those are really neat things. Again, all of the businesses up and down 7 Highway that have come on board to help us, to help you stop in rural America and see what's going on all the way from the Gateway to Clinton and all the way starting at 49 Highway. And we're got this new visitor center open up. Stop by and see all the things. We got all these videos going on. We got the history. We got a lot of cool things about anything you'd want to know about 7 Highway. A lot of the history of all the things that's went on in this country that you probably don't know about. So a lot of good information. And then you can also find places that you want to go eat or places that you want to find, maybe buy something. All that information is going to be right here at our visitor center. A little piece of heaven on Junction 10-7. Pull right off here and come see us. And we'll be open up. We're going to be open, I think. Anna tells me we're going to be open from, I think, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and maybe a half a day on Saturday. We're going to be through the summer. I've got these young interns and the incubator program. It's just been, they've been such a wonderful thing to work with. Sherwood High School, I've got great people out of there. We got the ribbon cutting. Time you see this, the ribbon cutting will already be over. But come down and see us at Ag City Visitors Bureau, Visitor Center, and learn more about what we're doing and all the businesses scattered up and down 7 Highway. And we're going right back to our program, and I think you're going to love the ending. Okay, we're back now, and this has been a good. We've had a little bit of sidebar discussion when we've been on break, and this part's it's a work in progress. Well, what we want to talk just a little bit about, especially with Seth, is we're developing what we call Timberline Foods. Now, let me tell you just a smidgen about Timberline Foods. Timberline Foods is about a 40-year-old company that's been in mothballs for about 30 some years. And so we brought that company back into existence, and this is Seth's company. And what we do is Ag City, and our thing that we do here is we incubate. One of our jobs is to help people with good ideas get to the marketplace and do all the things they need to do. And this is probably one of the most exciting incubation processes that I've been involved with for maybe the last 20 years. So what we're working with Seth here to incubate a new LLC, which is called Timberline Foods, which he will own, operate, run, CEO. I mean, that's all still being worked out in the bylaws and the SOPs and things and stuff like that. But this is pretty exciting now because now we're developing and we got some plants in the ground. We got to figure out how to get the SOP and get it to the marketplace. But anyway, we're working with Captain Seth here, CEO of Timberline Foods, and he's our boss. So we're just incubating the heck out of you, Seth. So what do you want us to do, buddy?
Well, once again, I thank you, Bill, and I appreciate Jeff and all you guys' time and help with this project. I'm really excited to see how this is all going to play out. I will say that I am depending on the master businessman here. I am not to the level and experience with having employees and developing a large scale business. I'm hoping that this does grow, and I'm hoping that it will have a positive impact on agriculture in Missouri and nationwide and maybe even worldwide if things go well. So, yes, thank you, and looking forward
Well,
to
let me give a little disclaimer here. I have built a lot of businesses. In my lifetime, probably 36 or so, and some of those have been really successful. And somebody said one time, how did you how do you do these things? And I said, well, you got to make good decisions, and you're giving me credit for doing that, and I appreciate that. But the answer to how do you make good decisions? Bad ones. So out of all this education we've got, and a lot of it is self educated. And as you start a business, you grow a business, you see it grow. The blessing of it is to see somebody take an idea from the beginning and launch it into something that will benefit the general public. And where these guys have come from, they hit my hot spot because environmentally we're helping the soil, we're helping the earth, we're helping the people. We've not even discussed much, Jeff, on all the things we've talked about as far as 369 and how the trees and how everything fits together in the human space. So there's just so many good things in here, Seth. It's almost unbelievable the opportunity that you have to take your ideas, if we can put legs under them the right way, get the right investors up, and those things within the next 2 podcasts. Hopefully, we have the SOP that will allow people, and if they're interested, I don't know, do you want them to call in to? I guess we can fix a place where we can call in. Well, we got a special person over here that kind of directs us. That's Anna Cantrell. She's behind the scenes, and we couldn't do this without her. She's like the most specialist person in this room.
I agree.
Okay. So anyway, we'll put something out on this podcast on how you can, if you're interested, and you're interested in Seth's new LLC, and how you would like to participate. We'll have a little form. We have a little way that you can pick maybe some of your hot points that you'd be interested in, and call us, and we'll start some discussion. That makes sense?
Yeah, sounds good.
Jeff, you have anything you want to add to this?
I tell you a little story. If I can take just a second, I was up at a preschool graduation and saw 36 little kids graduate at school. And they came through there and they asked them the question, what they were in class, whether they were a class clown or the best hugger, the most involved, and then they asked them what they wanted to be. And you heard a lot of mommies and nurses and doctors, firemen, and one little girl said she wanted to be a farmer. And it just made me stop and think a minute of what we're doing here. One little girl out of that whole bunch wanted to be a farmer.
Mm-hmm.
And I was watching a bunch of grandparents and parents that happened to be in the back, and it was an awe. I didn't get an awe or hear an awe on the other ones, but a little girl that wants to be a farmer. That's what we have right here before us, because the theme has kind of been that we're not talking about.
You're getting a little teary-eyed, buddy.
Well,
You're getting a little emotional here. That's pretty cool.
That's getting into the scene. Okay?
Yeah, let's go.
But I wanted to make a point. We have something here right before us, and it's kind of what we talked about before, and I took it and I wrote it down. This research is we're finding out things and uncovering things that have been forgotten. And why were they forgotten? They're so important, from the things that Seth is telling us about what we can do with trees, and back to the time that the trees were put there, and that they can feed us, they can heal us, they can do everything, including giving us an emotional uplift and shade when we need it. And we have forgotten that. Shame on us. Let's bring it back. Let's hope that little girl becomes the farmer she wants to be.
Well, in closing now, I'm going to close this thing out. And, guys, it's been really fun. And this is probably one of the best podcasts as far as for me to enjoy, to see where we're going to go. And so, we've been fighting this hemp thing since 2019 and just running against one wall and another. Uncle Sam saying you can do this, and this state doing this, and that doing that. And it's just been it's really been a tough road. This is a clear field. This has so many legs and so much, and we don't have a lot of government intervention. And so the government is what Ronald Reagan said. Be careful when the government says we're here to help you.
Right.
Well, they're not even around, Seth. So we got a clear playing field here. But in closing, again, I just thank these guys. I think this has been a very special podcast. Again, Anna will come up and she'll have something on screen so you can get a hold of us. We'll get it right to Seth, right to Jeff here, and we're really putting our teeth in this. And we just want to thank you and thank Ag City and all the Ag City supporters for being with us and helping us get down the road of really doing some really good things. So thank you very much, and we'll see you on the turnaround.
Come back and see us. Thank you.